So welcome everyone on this Friday, happy Friday, to our information session for our Bridgewater State University EXCEL program. My name is Tina Rake. I am the interim director of the EXCEL program here at Bridgewater. I'd like to invite our other staff members to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina Tahasik. I'm the campus life coordinator for the EXCEL program. Nice to see everyone today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lisa Turner. I'm the office manager and staff administrative assistant for the EXCEL program. Nice to see everybody.
Great, thank you all. Now can everybody hear me okay? Thumbs up? Okay, great. So I am going to share my screen. What we're going to do this morning is we are going to present a PowerPoint about the EXCEL program. And what I'm going to invite all of you to do is, if you have questions and you want to just sort of jot them down on your own, terrific. If you would like to use our chat function, please, I invite you to type your questions into the chat function on the side. And at the end of the session, we're going to have plenty of time to answer questions. But we do want to get through the presentation first. So let me share my screen now. Okay. So we are here today to share our BSU EXCEL program, standing for Extraordinary Expectations for Career, Education, and Life. What is our EXCEL program all about? Well, it's all about equal access to higher education. It wasn't so long ago that individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities who did not have a high school diploma could not apply to college. They did not meet the entrance requirements. This program was developed to break this barrier. Here at Bridgewater, our mission for our students in the EXCEL program is to have a fully inclusive college experience alongside their college-age peers in the areas of academics, socialization, career development, and independent living. Our program honors their dignity and worth and fosters growth and self-determination. So a little bit about our history. Gosh, it's been a decade now. Back in 2010, our former director partnered with about 5 transition teachers from local high school districts, and they became aware of a grant that was made available through, at that time, it was the Executive Office of Education. The spirit of the initiative was just that they wanted to help create opportunities for young individuals with IDD in transition programs in the high schools to have an experience to go to college. And so the grant would be awarded to institutes of higher education and enabling them to create programs to partner up with the high school districts so that the students could become dually enrolled. They would be enrolled in the high school still through the transition age, but they would also come to Bridgewater to take classes, hopefully start internships, and socialize and become part of the campus community. Over this past decade, our Bridgewater program has grown. We have continued to develop connections with local high school districts. We have well over 20 district partners at this point that we have partnered up with, in this region. For some examples of our district partners, Silver Lake, Marshfield, Whitman-Hanson, Bridgewater-Raynham, Norton, Franklin, Weymouth, Attleboro, the list goes on. We even partnered up with Wachusett a couple of years back when a student advocated for himself to come to the program. We average about 30 students per year. Over the past several years, there was a growing interest from families and young individuals who wanted to apply to the program, but were unable to because perhaps they didn't meet the entrance requirements. Perhaps they were already out of high school. Perhaps they did not go to a school district that was a partner with Bridgewater. We've had several inquiries from out of state families. So at that point, we decided we were going to work on developing additional options for our program. we wanted to open the door even more to individuals who wanted a college experience, who could not get into Bridgewater through the traditional means. So we're proud to say today that we have 3 options for our Bridgewater EXCEL program. We have our traditional EXCEL partnership program, which is our partnering with our districts. The districts do pay for student participation. And we are now happy to say we have 2 private pay options. We have the EXCEL certificate program and the EXCEL transition program. Our program outcomes are the same for all 3 programs. We want to provide opportunities for our students to grow academically in their college courses, to develop their employability skills, opportunities for growth and self-determination, the development of social skills and independent living skills. We like to say that we focus on the whole student in our program. So we have 3 pillars that make up our BSU EXCEL program model. Those are, of course, the academic piece, where students are enrolled in courses, mainstream college courses alongside their peers. There's no separate programming, no separate curriculum. Our students are able to develop employability skills through internships experience on and off our campus. And of course, the development of social skills, where our students are matched with BSU peer mentors, and they are able to enjoy full access to BSU clubs, activities, and events. All students may apply as commuter and as residence life students in all 3 of our programs. Now I'm going to turn the mic over to Christina, who's going to share a little bit more specifically about each of our 3 options.
Absolutely. So like Tina mentioned earlier, our program got started with the EXCEL partnership program, which is the dual enrollment program. So students are 18 to 22 years old, and they're still enrolled in a public school, and they're receiving special education services through their respective districts. So we have 2 tiers, 2 different categories for these students. Tier 1, they are 18 to 22, and they have not passed the MCAS. That's the majority of our students, and really who this program was intended to serve, students who really would never have the opportunity to go to college. And then we have our Tier 2. And the requirement under the grant for Tier 2 is that students are 20 to 22. They have passed MCAS, but they're still eligible for IDEA, so receiving special education services through their districts. All of our students have a documented intellectual disability or developmental disability. Like Tina mentioned, the district pays the program fee. And the way to get started is first a partnership must be developed between BSU and the district. So the districts must partner with us first in order to then recommend students. So if you are a student or if you're a family member that is interested in the program and your child is enrolled in a public school system, you would want to first contact your special education teacher or transition specialist just to make them aware that you're interested in the program, and then we'll go from there. Usually we set up a meeting, an information meeting with the liaison, the SPED director, and then the partnership forms from there. Okay, so one of our newer programs is the EXCEL certificate program, and this is one of our private pay options. So for this program, students do have to be have completed high school, they've exited the public school system, and this is a 2-year BSU endorsed certificate program. So you do not earn credits, it's non-credit bearing, but they do get a BSU endorsed certificate, which is really amazing. We worked really hard with our Office of Continuing Studies to make a plan of study in order for students to earn that certificate. So this is for students who are at least 18 years old. There's no age limit though, 18 and over. So they've completed high school requirements, like I said, but they were unable to obtain a high school diploma. So maybe they were, they couldn't pass their MCAS testing or whatever the case may be. So they cannot meet the typical requirements to get into college. So again, they have intellectual developmental disability. They must have previously been enrolled in a high school special education program. And for this option, of course, students and families can contact us directly if they are interested in this program. And the third option is our EXCEL transition program. And again, this is a private pay option designed, again, for students 18 and over, this time who have earned a high school diploma, but they feel like they need a little bit of extra support to successfully transition into that college experience from high school to college. There's so many differences and it can be a challenging transition. So students who might need a little extra support for a year and then they take off on their own. Again, documented disability, intellectual or developmental, and the ultimate goal for the transition program students is that they want to become a degree seeking undergraduate student at BSU. And again, interested students and families can contact us and we just hand the application to those students. And I should have mentioned for the partnership program, as far as applications, we always send the applications directly to the district. And then based on the criteria that's listed in the application, we kind of rely on the districts to make recommendations of students they feel meet the criteria for the program. All right, so some of our eligibility criteria, which is listed on our application, is first and foremost, the student has the desire and motivation to learn, to continue learning in a college setting. So there have been some situations where the students attending the program was driven more by maybe the family or the teachers, and really the student didn't have it, in their heart that they wanted to be there. And really the student has to have that buy-in and they have to be motivated to, in order for it to be a beneficial experience. So that's our first, what we really look for, why we interview the students one-on-one so that we can, hear from them as to why they want a college experience. Of course, that they're able to identify future career goals. The main outcome of the program is to hopefully get eventually competitive paid employment. So we, want our students to have some career goals in mind. Eventually, hoping to live independently, as independent as possible in the future. Emotional stability and maturity. So, no history of disruptive or challenging behaviors. So we always look at psychological reports, IEPs. We ask for reference letters because our staff and also the professors at BSU don't have the means necessary to, handle any disruptive or, behavioral concerns. And of course, a solid high school attendance record. So just showing that the student did go to school daily, doesn't have too many absences. We just want to know that they're going to show up and try their best when they come. All right, and we're going to talk a little bit more about our Residence Life program later, but we do have additional eligibility criteria for Residence Life candidates. I'm sure a lot of you might be interested in the Residence Life program. So for our partnership program, we do require that our students had one successful year in the Residence Life program as a commuter student. I'm sorry, in the commuter program. And for transition and certificate, they can live on campus, their first year if they choose. So the ability to independently recognize and react to emergency situations, this is really important because we are not a program that provides 24/7 coverage or support. So there are going to be times when the student is on their own. So of course they'll have a roommate, they'll have peer mentors checking in with them each night, they'll have resident assistants. But that's not to say that they're like always looking after them. You know, if a student chooses to leave their dorm at 10 o'clock at night, no one's going to be stopping them. So we really, you know, that's an important piece, is that they can recognize and react to emergency situations independently. The ability to self-administer medications. So they're, you know, any typical college student going to college, there isn't anyone on campus that can administer meds. So, you know, students should know, you know, why they're taking certain medications, why it's important to, you know, not self-medicate and stop taking medications, know when they have to take the medications, things like that. Strong self-advocacy skills. And basically what we mean by that is being able to ask for help when needed. So of course, we don't expect students to know every independent living skill and, you know how to solve every problem that comes along, but we do expect them to be able to reach out for support if needed and know who to reach out to and ask for help. The basics, you know, strong daily living skills, so able to manage their personal belongings, personal care, technology, you know, being able to navigate campus, follow their own schedule, being able to get up in the morning. And these are things, you know, initially they might struggle with, and they might get up late and miss a class. But again, just those basic core skills to start off. And of course, the motivation and willingness to build upon the daily living skills, independent living skills. Part of living on campus is learning how to do all these things that maybe, you know, our family did for us in the past, and, you know, learning to do laundry, learning to cook, learning to take care of ourselves and be healthy. And part of having the peer mentors is, you know, they're able to make suggestions and work through some of these things. So being, you know, having the willingness to accept those suggestions and wanting to improve.
Thank you, Christina. So a little bit about our application timeline and the process. Christina did already mention a few pointers as far as receiving the applications. We do not have them posted freely on our website, and there are reasons for that. So right now is sort of open enrollment for acceptance of applications. We will be accepting applications. They are due December 11th of this year for the next 2021-22 academic year. As Christina mentioned, for the partnership program, the key here is that the district partnerships are established first. So we do all of our current district partners that we've that we've worked with in the past have already received our applications for next year. And then we also are open to new district partnerships. So if there is a district partner liaison that would like to contact us and set up a time for an appointment to discuss developing a new partnership, we are happy to do so. And the idea there is that the districts then would be the ones to recommend students that they feel are qualified for our program. If there is an interested student or family here learning more about the program, we would need you to contact your special ed teachers, transition specialists, your team at your school to discuss the possibility of the program. And like I said, the applications are sent directly to the districts, and then they disperse them to interested students and qualified students. As far as the certificate in transition, like Christina said, interested in students and families may reach out to us, and we will be happy to disperse the applications. And we always recommend attending one of our information sessions like we're doing now, perhaps setting up a meeting if you need more individual questions answered, and certainly learning about the qualifications for candidates that we look for through reviewing our website, our application, coming to the session, and the applications are sent directly to the families in that case. In January, we would be at that point conducting student interviews, and then notifications are sent in March. A little bit about the program cost. For partnership, we have been able to keep the cost the same for this coming year. It'll be $8,000 a student for the academic year. And for Residence Life program fee, right now, for the past several years and for this next year, we are planning to apply for grant funding through the Department of Higher Education for our Residence Life program. So of course, the program fee would be pending approval for the grant. This fee does cover, of course, one course per semester for commuter students, 2 courses for Residence Life students, books and supplies, weekly internship experience, once a week for commuters, at least twice a week for Residence Life students. The support from our EXCEL program staff, peer mentor support. We have both day and evening support. Christina will talk a little bit more about that. And of course, full access to our BSU campus resources and campus life. Additional district costs that you would want to know about, of course, are providing an education coach that would come to support the student one-on-one. Commuter students, that would be 3 times a week. So the model is that we would want district partnership students on campus 3 days a week, whether it be a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday schedule or a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, depending on the classes. If the student is living on campus in the Residence Life program, we ask that the district sends an education coach 5 days a week for a minimum of 20 hours. And of course, the district is responsible for covering transportation costs to and from campus. For our certificate and transition program, the commuter program fee is going to be $18,500 for the upcoming academic year, and the Residence Life program fee will be $21,500. This program fee covers support services. So meaning we hire the education coach. So the student will have a one-to-one education coach that will also serve as job coach support in the internship, peer mentor support, the EXCEL program staff support, evening mentor support, and resident assistant support for students living on campus. In addition, families, of course, would be responsible for direct Bridgewater fees, which would include the tuition and fees. Typically, right now, the fees are listed. They will likely go up slightly. So for students in this program take 2 courses per semester in these private pay programs. So it's roughly $2,800 for the 2 courses per semester. If they were living on campus, right now it's about $79.48 per year to live in Scott Hall. And the gold meal plan, which is the middle of the line meal plan, which is quite a nice meal plan, is about $21.24 per semester, and of course covering books and supplies. So academics, as I mentioned before, at Bridgewater are fully inclusive. Unlike other programs for individuals with IDD, our program is fully inclusive. Our students enroll in any course of their choice at Bridgewater alongside matriculated students, as long as the course does not have a prerequisite. So they may register. We've had students taking courses ranging from art to physics. So the door is open for our students, and we're very proud of that. The students in our partnership and certificate program are auditing the courses, meaning they are not receiving a grade or credit, but they are, of course, receiving the credential of being a part of the Bridgewater State University EXCEL program, which is a very nice credential to have on their resumes once they complete that. And then those who are in our transition program will be taking courses for credit. And so the nice piece to that is that, of course, the goal of that program is for the students to eventually apply as degree-seeking students, and they may transfer those credits into their program once they enter Bridgewater as an undergraduate degree-seeking student. As I mentioned a minute ago, the students do have education coach support and individualized, and that's what we really like to focus upon. This is not a group program. This is an individualized program. So depending on the type of support that the students need, that's the type of support that the education coach is going to provide. There are no IEPs in college, but we do really work with our students to recognize that they have the right under the Americans with Disabilities Act to request appropriate accommodations in their classes. And so we work with them through that whole process of identifying their learning strengths and needs, and then identifying the areas that they feel that they could use some extra help in classes. And then we draw up an accommodation letter, which they then take upon themselves as their responsibility to communicate with their professor and talk about the accommodations they may be requesting. We do have, whether the students are auditing or taking the courses for credit, we have the highest standards for our students within the program. We do expect full participation to the best of our students' ability. So if they are auditing the course, that doesn't mean that they're exempt from tests and such, that they will fully participate and take part in those. When they are auditing though, there is room for adaptations to certain assignments, maybe modifications, and that's a conversation that the education coach student as a team would have with the professor. Our staff is here to provide support on that as well, as far as discussing that strategy with education coaches and students. Our students are encouraged and supported by their education coaches to use campus resources for academic support. Again, the idea of this program is to help the students really become as independent and self-determined as possible. So we want them accessing the resources here, not simply relying on their education coaches or our staff for all of their answers and support. We want them to be making appointments with the writing studio, math services, tutoring. That's really the idea, is that we want our students to have an authentic college experience. And of course, they have regular check-in meetings with our staff, for academic advising, to see how the classes are going, to see how their accommodations are going, to see if they are running up against any trouble. So we're there to support not only the student, but the education coach. The career piece is very exciting. Our students are, like I said before, involved in internships on campus as well as off campus now. Our career specialist, who's normally here with us, Zach Chipman, has worked very hard in the community to develop a lot of wonderful partnerships with local businesses who have opened their doors to our students interning. And these are some great pictures of our students. We have all kinds of partnerships outside of Bridgewater with Bridgewater Florist, the Senior Center, Juice Mill, Wicked Stitches T-shirt shop. Within Bridgewater, our students are working in the dining halls, the greenhouse, the mailroom, the fitness center. So there's a large array of choices for our students to kind of hone in on, perhaps an internship leading to a career path they may be interested, or just an internship where they will be using skill sets that they would like to develop for future employment. Our students are constantly self-assessing through the Massachusetts Work-Based Learning Plan on their employability skills growth. And so that's a big piece of it, that they're ed coaches who in this situation are job coaches. They're supporting them at the internships, and they are also observing and tracking progress as well. Our students are also encouraged to use the Bridgewater University's career services, and they do go as part of the programming to set up appointments, have their resumes reviewed, cover letters, and have practice interviews. So they're really developing these employability skills along the way. I'll turn it back over to Christina.
All right, so one of the really neat parts of our program is our peer mentors. So every student in our program is paired up with a peer mentor who's an undergraduate student, matriculated student at BSU. And they're basically there to help the students get acclimated to campus, encourage involvement, introduce them to different clubs and activities, make sure they understand all the, opportunities available to them on campus. They can even attend events with the EXCEL students. We also have peer leaders who their job is to, find out what's going on at BSU. There's even now virtually with everything going on, there's so many different activities, events going on, and sometimes our students might not like research it, or, maybe a little hesitant to look further into things. And our peer leaders basically find out what's going on, and they make everyone aware, the program students, the ed coaches, the liaisons. They're kind of like our little cheerleader, encouraging them to go to these events, and they attend with them. So at least, if their peer mentor can't attend, there's a familiar face there to kind of get them used to these things. And I'm trying to think of anything else. As far as peer mentors, the residents' life peer mentors, they're scheduled every night. We have 2 or 3 peer mentors on schedule that, again, just help the students check in with them, make sure everything's going okay. Here we go. Make sure everything. What is happening, Tina?
Sorry about that. I'm going to try to go back, and I'm not exactly sure how to do that. So you just keep going, Christina.
Just gonna, now that you distracted me, no, I'm just kidding. So our residence life mentors just check in with our res life students each night. There's someone on call, so to speak, just to check in, see if they need anything, offer suggestions for different things going on. Maybe there's bingo that night or trivia, and they'll encourage them to go, or go with them, go to dinner. Maybe they need help studying for a test. So this is a really nice part of the program, just to get students, out there, out of their comfort zone, getting involved, and, meeting that social aspect of the program.
Okay, sorry about that. So I thought I was going to get through a whole presentation without flubbing up, but so here we are with the support structure, and we really have already talked about all of this, but I think it's important to just, as a visual, to see that that it's, yes, it's an individualized experience, and our students are part of the Bridgewater community. There are supports in place, but there really is a lot of room for the students to have their own independent experience as well. The education coaches, like I said, are there to provide that one-on-one support. Again, it's as much or as little as that student might need in certain areas. For example, students in our partnership program might have certain IEP goals that they're really focusing on working on the college campus: self-advocacy, study skills, communication, time management. And we really do work with our students on something called person-centered planning, where our students really do identify their own goals they are working on that are helping them get to that vision for their own future. So we are supporting our students in all 3 programs in using the opportunity to be, as they are in college, to work toward these goals. So the education coaches, like I said, are there. They're supporting the students in accessing campus resources, which is a really critical piece to all 3 of our programs. A lot of what the students have difficulty with typically as they're coming onto a college campus is just sort of those steps of how to get to the next point, how to make an appointment with student accessibility services to talk about accommodations, how to make an appointment with Tutoring Central. All of those steps are supported by an education coach. So enabling the student to become more confident as they go along to eventually do these things on their own. And that really the education coaches and students both benefit from our weekly check-in meetings with them. We are supporting not only the students' experience, but the education coach, in that we are helping to guide them as they are also supporting the student. Peer mentors, as Christina just mentioned, we have peer mentor support for day and evening. And, they really are role models. That's, I think, the students' favorite part of the program, is just connecting with them, developing friendships, feeling a part of, and that's so important within this program. And of course, our EXCEL staff, like I said, we're there for the weekly check-in meetings. We're there, to really work hard. And we have, over this past decade, to develop partnerships within our own campus community. When the program first started, it was more of a program, a little separate program within the university. Well, we've really broken down those barriers very slowly over the past decade, so that the students are one with the university, fully integrated. And of course, we're there always for available for one-on-one meetings to provide more independent or more in the moment and individualized supports as things come up.
All right, so the Residence Life program, I know we mentioned it a little bit, but really this is the chance for our students to take their college experience a step further and live in the residence halls alongside their peers. So this started in 2016, so we're currently in our 5th year. And it's just proven to be so beneficial to students, you know, who really their goal is to live independently in the future. And some of our students, that's not a priority to them, and that's fine. But for those that do want to live independently, this is their chance to practice that in such a natural, safe environment. So, you know, they're still on their own, away from home, kind of thrown into it and having to learn these skills, but they have that support and they have people they can go to if they need help. So, you know, it's really, again, a chance for them to get more involved on campus. So when we are in person and everyone is on campus, a lot of those activities and events happen at night or on the weekends, a lot of those clubs. So it's really just a nice chance for students to get more involved and not have to worry about transportation to and from campus. They still have support from education coaches during the days, 5 days a week, like Tina mentioned. But also support from the peer mentors, the resident assistant. They have a resident director that lives in the hall. So there's really like someone there 24/7 in case of an emergency, if there were ever a problem. But like I said earlier, there's not like someone monitoring them 24/7. So I think I mentioned everything else earlier about, you know, just the daily living skills, independent living skills. We have our peer mentors, you know, implement programming to kind of work on those skills with each other, whether it's laundry, travel training. You know, we have a train stop right on campus, which is amazing. So we've had students just taking the train to Boston, going to Red Sox games, going apple picking, whatever it is. Communication skills, problem solving skills. I mean, you know, having to live with someone, if you've never had a roommate, it's just such an amazing opportunity. You know, things are going to come up. There's going to be problems that are normal. And it's such a nice chance for our students to work on those problem solving skills, communication skills. And again, such like a safe environment with support. And here are just some pictures of our students. We always like to show some pictures just getting involved around campus. Some of our peer mentors. And this is our contact information. We can leave this up, or, you know, we're going to send the PowerPoint out after this, but if anyone needs to contact us at any point, this is all of our information here in our website, which we just new and improved this year. You guys should check it out. It's really amazing. And it has basically all the information we just covered today, which is nice.
So what I'm going to do now is, before we open it up for questions, I am going to stop the recording and thank everyone for joining us today.